对，我就先教你这些，应该没问题。
Krishna, welcome everyone to Bhagavata Sravana. Thank you so much for being here. I am introducing the same person that I introduced last week, so forgive me if you already know everything I'm about to say. Most of us here know Sri Prahlada and respect him so deeply. He's a very, very inspiring and wonderful devotee, both him and his wife, Sri Gandharvika, who dressed the deities this morning. And he actually grew up in Krishna consciousness. He was born to a family of practitioners, and he went to the Gurukul in Mayapur and was always very, very serious about his Krishna consciousness. Started chanting 16 rounds at a very young age, took initiation in high school, like in his teenage years, from his spiritual master, Hridayananda Das Goswami. And he then also traveled for 18 years with Indradyumna Swami as his servant and doing kirtan with him and learning from him. And he then also became a professor and a scholar and has taught around the world in many universities and is known around the world now for his kirtan and also for his scholarship and his amazing classes. And him and his wife are now located here in New York City. So he's going to speak to us today on the flute's distant call, the gopis' devotional longing, and the Venu Gita. We can say one Hari Bol for Sri Prahlada. Hari Bol!
Welcome, thank you for joining us today for Bhagavata Sravana, a weekly gathering where we explore something from the Bhagavata. Today, Venu Gita. So Venu Gita is the 10th canto of the Bhagavata, chapter 21. It's a very wonderful, wonderful song about Krishna. It's very confidential, we will explore and then also reflect and see what we can take from this in terms of our own spiritual practice. So those are our objectives today, to introduce us to the Bhagavad Gita for those of us who are not familiar, and to deepen our appreciation, even for those of us who have some familiarity, deepen our appreciation of this wonderful chapter of the Bhagavatam, and then more broadly to deepen our appreciation of the Bhagavatam overall. This is a song of longing, it's a song of separation, so we'll explore that theme as well, the theme of viraha, or vipralambha, love and separation. And then when we read these passages, they are very exalted, they may appear very distant as well. And so we can also, without, sometimes these things can be taken where we artificially try to see ourselves in these pastimes. So without that kind of artificial imposition, but to see what we can learn from this. How do we apply this teaching in our own spiritual practice? How can this enrich our spiritual practice as well? So those are our intentions. The Venu Gita, you may know, is one of many, many Gitas or songs that are found in the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavad Gita is a song found in the Bhagavata. We know it as a standalone text, but if you read Bhagavata cover to cover, you'll find in the Bhishma Parva there is a section called the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna engages in dialogue with Arjuna. And so within the Bhagavatam also there are many, many Gitas. Famously, the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, it is called Uddhava Gita. That is Satyaraj Prabhu has published a book, Krishna's Other Song, where he instructs Uddhava. Uddhava asks a question of Krishna. Krishna says to Uddhava, actually, this is a very similar question to the one Arjuna asked me on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Let me explain to you. And so he starts his instructions to Uddhava with reference to the Bhagavad Gita. And that major portion of the 11th canto of the Bhagavata is called Uddhava Gita. It's also studied as a standalone text. Within that Uddhava Gita, there are other Gitas as well. There is a Bhikshu Gita, the song of the Avanti Brahmana. There is the Aila Gita, the song of Pururava. There is a Hamsa Gita, the song of Hamsa Avatar, within Uddhava Gita. Okay, that was so no point made, right? There are many Gitas found in the Bhagavatam. 6 of those Gitas are sung by the gopis. And we can pay special attention to them, particularly as followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because we know from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his disciples that the gopis are the exemplars par excellence of bhakti, of prema bhakti, of love for Krishna. And so by engaging with, immersing ourselves, exposing ourselves to these Gitas of the gopis, we get something of the sentiment, of the mood of those who love Krishna the most intensely, in a way that is most pleasing to him. And so we can pay particular attention to these Gitas. Of the 6, then the one we will discuss today is the first, called Venu Gita, the song of the flute. And just to briefly overview, very briefly, the distinctions between these different songs. Venu Gita is a wide-angle lens at a distance. The gopis haven't yet met Krishna. They're seeing him from a distance, and there's this love before meeting, Purvarag. And I think that can be very apt for us as well, hoping to cultivate. We're at a distance from Krishna. We want to come near to him. And so the gopis are seeing him, they're hearing him, and there's a sentiment that's in their heart. They're discussing among one another. Pranaya Gita is after they've already met Krishna. They've had some interaction with him, not to the extent that they would like. Pranaya Gita is before the rasa dance. And so they pray to Krishna to accept them. Krishna's telling them to go home. And they say, no, we're staying here with you. Krishna's playing his flute. The gopis have come to be with him. And Krishna says, it's nice that you've come. You've seen the forest and eating. Now go home. And so they make their case for why they should stay to be with Krishna. Out of life in New York, we hear lots of sirens, and we might find it annoying, but we can also think that someone's in trouble, right? We can say a prayer for them as well. We feel some compassion. So Pranaya Gita, the gopis make their case. No, Krishna, you try to use dharma and religion to send us away. Don't trick us. We know that the objective of religion is to be with you. Gopi Gita is sung during the rasa dance. And this is if the Venu Gita is the wide angle lens, Gopi Gita is up close. They talk about Krishna, the sound of his voice, his hair, and the touch of his skin. So they've had intimate association with Krishna, and they speak as one who knows Krishna in a very intimate way. The Gopi Gita is probably the most famous of the songs of the gopis. Yugala Gita is very wonderful. It's after the rasa dance, and Yugal means two. So these are couplets. They're verses that come in pairs. The one verse doesn't complete, but it's like dot, dot, dot. And then it continues with the second verse. So Yugal means pairs. So it's 6 pairs of verses to make 12, as far as I remember. And yeah, it's like the gopis are intoxicated with love. It's quite the way they describe Krishna and Vrindavan forest is that they are, I think, very joyful, thinking about Krishna, remembering Krishna, glorifying Krishna, and they describe him and Vrindavan forest in a very topsy-turvy way. Everything's kind of upside down from what it might be. Even in the Veda Gita we'll see some of that. But the rivers have stopped flowing, the trees are flowing with flowers and sap in love for Krishna. Animals have stand stood, everything is the opposite, turned upside down in Vrindavan forest in love for Krishna. Viraha Gita is when Krishna is leaving Vrindavan, and the gopis are trying to stop Krishna's chariot. And they're saying, why aren't the adults doing anything? Why is Nanda Maharaj allowing this? Have they lost their minds? Don't they realize that Krishna leaves here, he won't come back again? It's very, very intense. In fact, as you go through these songs, the intensity of love grows. Finally, Brahma Gita, sung by Srimati Radharani. And in Brahma Gita, she's speaking to a bumblebee. Her love has taken her to the point where she's projecting and talking to a bumblebee as if it's a messenger from Krishna. And she speaks in a way that's hurt and angry. 1 second, one verse, and then the next verse full of affection. Like in any very intimate relationship, those emotions, those mixed emotions are there. So these are 6 Gitas. Today we're discussing one of these. That is the Veda Gita. But one theme you'll see across all of them, all 6, is this mood of love in separation. So the sense of longing is characteristic of the gopis' love for Krishna. They may be with him or not, but this is very intense sense of viraha or vipralambha, love in separation. So that's something that we can think about a little, this pain of separation that seems to be characteristic of the gopis' love for Krishna. Why? So I think we can open up with some thoughts on that, some meditation on that. There's the pain of stubbing your toe or cutting your finger, physical pain. And then there's this emotional pain. Are they the same? No. Would anyone like to elaborate? So have any poems been written about, oh, I stubbed my toe. Oh, it was so painful. And how many poems have been written about the pain of love? Yeah.
Okay. Is it because emotions are on a more subtle level, so they have perhaps even a stronger impact on us than physical or gross pains?
Sure. Yeah. So there's the physical body, and then there's the subtle body. So nice insight. So this is related to some kind of pain that's felt on the subtle body. Yes.
Well, stubbing your toe isn't that bad. But the physical pain of like physical stuff is like just pain. But the emotional pain of longing and love is actually, it's also an ecstasy because it's in connection with the person that you love. And so in the material world, it's just, it's like a mix of pain, but also a mix of love because you're thinking of the person that you love. And then on the spiritual platform, it's actually the deepest spiritual ecstasy that one can have.
Yeah, thank you. So Chilpak's also a poet. Recently published a book of beautiful poetry. Thank you. Received a copy a couple of days ago. And so in poetry, it's flat, right? If it's just all pretty and joyful, it's one-dimensional. But when there's this mix of joy and longing, some pain, some angst, then there's this complexity to the poetry. There's a wide range of feeling and sentiment that's explored there. And you're saying it's also a way of connecting deeply with a person. Okay, so see two, I'll come to you.
In physical example, my son is with us, so he's taking food of mom, nice food.
Yeah.
When he gone for graduation, 1,000 miles away.
Yeah.
So later he realized the importance of love and food.
Right.
He misses, and in turn, by separation, he developed good bonding because his mom is not able, he's taking hostel food and he's going
Right.
back.
Yeah.
So due to separation, true love comes when mom is far away from him. So that may be the reason.
Yeah,
When you
thank
separate,
you.
you realize the importance of that love, and in absence of that, it creates different type of love.
Yeah, thank you. Do you have children? Yeah. So we have some examples from the father and the love that a parent has for their child. I can be feeding my child who's with me, and there is some depth in that relationship. But then when there is separation, my child was away for college, then I'm sending food or I'm cooking and thinking of them and how it would be when they come home, or we're preparing for a holiday when they'll come home and what we will cook for them. So the intensity of the relationship grows much stronger. Thank you for that example. Yes?
Okay, so the way I see it is the emotional pain or longing is when the person opens their heart. That's where the pain comes in.
Right.
And stumbling your toe has nothing to do with.
Yeah, thank you for that. So in the emotional pain of longing, somebody opens their heart. A heart is being opened up. Where is stubbing your toe? What's that to do? It's at a superficial level, it's an external level. Whereas the pain of longing and love is so much more profound. Thank you for that, Sravana.
And like stubbing your toe is more self-centered, right? It's my pain.
Right.
But when I'm longing for somebody else, it's taking myself out of the center and maybe even becoming a little mad, right? And not caring so much about my own personal well-being.
Yes, yeah. So nice. So Sharup is making a wonderful point here, that it becomes about the other in a loving relationship. The pain is in relation to the other, and there's a sweetness. There's a sweetness there. There's a pain, but it is a sweet, beautiful pain at the same time, and that's what the poets are exploring. And even in modern times, people, they go in and out of love because they just want to taste that. The beginning of the relationship, there is that intensity of the longing. Does she not? Does he not? There's that uncertainty, there's that feeling of separation. And then once you're committed and in the relationship, it gets boring. And so people people separate to feel that again and to keep experiencing that serially. Thank you. Yes?
So physical pain is something you can do to elevate that pain, but emotional pain, you don't know how to elevate. That's made it even more intense.
Yeah.
So like
Right.
your lover's gone, you don't know how to get him back or her back.
Right.
Like how can I get there? What can I do? You don't know
Right.
the outcomes. Like,
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So the physical pain, we might know how to mend. Put some cream, put a bandage,
some tablets.
some Tylenol, something. With the emotional pain, it's much more complex. We don't know how to resolve it. And so we become puzzled. We become confused in all of that. Wonderful. Thank you for that. So that feeling that we have a sense of in our relationships with our children, with our friends, with our lovers, the bhakta experiences in relation to God. That's profound. And that's the profound insight of the Bhagavata, giving us examples of those bhaktas who are feeling those sentiments in relation to God. And the Bhagavatam is telling us these are the exemplars. These are the people to emulate. These are the people who please Krishna the most. And so there's the unique contribution of the Bhagavatam. Otherwise, love of God, it's quite abstract. It's an idea, it's theoretical. In the Bhagavatam, it's lived, it's embodied, it's practical, it's there for us to behold in descriptions such as this. And so, and an interesting thing then, that what does that love look like? It looks like longing. There is a Western theologian named C.S. Lewis. He wrote a book. If you've heard of it or read it, raise your hand, called Longing for Joy. Generally, I don't make recommendations from this seat to read anything other than the Bhagavatam or the writings of our acharyas, but I do recommend this. It's a story of C.S. Lewis, so he's a famous author of Western literature. This is the story of his conversion from being an atheist to a spiritualist. And very briefly, well, I would have spoiled it for you, but very briefly, he at one point in his life, he looks back and thinks, when was I happiest? And he says, there were moments in my life where I experienced a kind of a joy. My heart jumped, like my heart leapt out of my chest, my body, and I was elevated. And as he thought back, he said, what were those moments? He says it was when I was in nature. I would look at some distant mountains and my heart would leap. Or I would see a beautiful waterfall, trees filled with flowers, and my heart would just jump and lift for these few seconds. And he also observed that it was a kind of a longing. Like I'm seeing something beautiful, and my heart leaps, and there's a sense of a longing for, and he realizes it's God. It happens when he's in nature, and he understands nature. This is closeness to God, and that starts to say, okay, so who is God, where is God, what is God? That reflection, or that insight, starts his journey of seeking God. He ends up becoming a theologian, an authority on religious study. So this sense of longing, this viraha, the soul's longing for the divine, is something we are actually all experiencing. And our acharyas, our teachers will say, in everything we do, it's actually an expression of the soul longing for that joy, longing for that love. When we eat, when we drink, when we hear, when we see something beautiful, we want to drink it, we want to taste it, we want to relish it. And our acharyas will say, that's Krishna that we're longing for. Not just our acharyas, even our friends of our acharyas. The famous Beatle George Harrison says in his introduction to Prabhupada's Krishna book, a very famous quote. Would anyone like to say it for me?
All you need is love.
All you need is love. That's a song.
We're all searching for God. We might not realize it, but we are.
Yeah. He says, everyone is looking for love. And then brackets, Krishna. Some know it, some don't. And so it's very profound, yeah? And that section of his introduction was written in his handwriting. It's published in Prabhupada's Krishna book. And that little quote comes in George Harrison's own handwriting. Everyone is looking for love, Krishna. Some know it, others don't. So that looking, that longing, is what we're doing as souls. Brahmanda Brahmite called Bhagavata Jeev, Guru Krishna Prashadika. From one planet to the lowest, we're all searching for happiness. From the highest planets to the lowest, we're all searching for happiness. And that search is a search for that lost relationship with Krishna. The soul wanting to reunite with Krishna, but not realizing it. Some know it, others don't, most don't. And so we think it's the ice cream that we want. We think it's this key. So these gopis know that it is Krishna. We are still in a position of, we know theoretically that it's Krishna, but we still think it's other things. So this Veda Gita, it is the 21st chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavata, and it's a transition. A transition from Krishna's pastimes as a child to now he's become a youth. He's entered into his youth. And Sukadeva Goswami sets the seed by giving us in chapter 20 a description of the forest of Vrindavan. It's very romantic. It's the rainy season and then the autumn season. So Sukadeva Goswami is setting the seed, just describing nature, not just any nature, Vrindavan forest. And he takes the opportunity to make wonderful metaphors, to give us philosophical insights as he describes the rain and how the forest has dried up through the summer and now the rain has come, and everything becomes alive with that rainfall. Dried up riverbeds are now filled, and they're not following the course of the riverbed, they're breaking their banks. And he uses all of this to explain different philosophical insights. Prabhupada, he wrote a book called The Light of the Bhagavata. This is a really wonderful book. It's another story. But okay, briefly, there was a conference in Japan. Prabhupada wanted to go. Before he had come to the West, he's trying to find ways to outreach, to preach in the West. So he learned about this conference on theology, religion, taking place in Japan. He wrote to the organizers and he says, I want to contribute to the conference. We'll have these verses from the Bhagavata, and they can be illustrated by an Oriental artist. And I'll give the captions, and then we can commission an artist to illustrate. And he understood that the Oriental philosophy and aesthetic was very much attuned to nature. So he thought that this particular chapter would be very appropriate for discussing theology, religion in an Oriental Japanese context. And so he wrote the plates, the captions that would appear, and gave descriptions for how they should be illustrated. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get sponsorship to go for the conference. He didn't have the funds to fly to Japan himself. He wanted the organizers to help him with some sponsor. So it didn't happen. But years later, in the 1980s, the BBT commissioned a Chinese artist to illustrate those descriptions, and it was published as a book called Light of the Bhagavata, based on the 20th chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, where Sukadeva Goswami describes both the rainy season and the autumn season with its metaphors on transcendence. What's Sukadeva Goswami doing? He's giving us spiritual insight. Yes, he's describing Vrindavan, but he's also setting a context. He's setting the scene for the appearance of these next phase of Krishna's pastimes as a youth with the gopis of Vrindavan. The gopis are mentioned in that 20th chapter. Just in one verse, says, everyone, as the autumn comes about and the rainy season, the rivers come back to their banks and the farmers are able to go back out to their fields, everyone feels peaceful and satisfied and happy, except the gopis. Except, just at the end, except the gopis. Their hearts are agitated with longing for Krishna. And so now, in chapter 21, we meet these gopis who are longing for Krishna, and we meet them in their own words. Sukadeva Goswami describes how the lakes and the rivers and the hills of Vrindavan are resounding with the sounds of birds and bees, and there is an echo through the forest of Vrindavan with these beautiful sounds, and then added to it is that Krishna, he's entering the forest, and he comes with his cows and boyfriends, and he adds to this soundscape the sound of his flute. He's described as Madhupati by Sukadeva Goswami. Madhupati has different meanings. The husband of the goddess of fortune, and then others have said that Madhu means honey or sweetness He's the Lord of sweetness. And those who drink Manu are the bees. So Sukadeva Goswami's mentioned that the bees are filling the Vrindavan with the sound of their buzzing as they go to drink honey, to drink nectar from the flowers. And they see Krishna, and they think he's one of them, or he's their king. He's the king of the bees because he's also black, and he wears yellow garments and black and yellow, like they. And he also makes a beautiful sound. He also goes from they go from one flower to the other. Krishna's also enjoying his devotees, with his devotees. And so Krishna adds to that soundscape the sound of his flute, and when the gopis hear that, their hearts leap, their hearts jump, they remember Krishna, and their hearts are agitated. They long for Krishna, they want to be with Krishna. But they can't. They can't because they have their duties, there are social conventions. They can't just go and follow and join the cowherd boys for cow herding for the day so that they could be with Krishna. They have home responsibilities. They have to draw water, they have to cook, they have to care for children. And so they have to be at a distance. And so what do? They gather together in groups, and together they talk about Krishna. They sing Krishna's glory. That's the Bhagavata. Initially, as they hear the sound of Krishna and then a vision of Krishna appears in their hearts, they come together. They want to console one another by singing of Krishna, but the words aren't coming from their mouths. So this is the vision. Sukadeva Goswami, he says, this is what they saw. they wanted to speak, but they're unable. Sukadeva Goswami speaks, and he describes how Krishna looks. And this is said to be one of the most, we can say, exalted verses of the Bhagavata in terms of a description of how Krishna looks. 10th Canto, chapter 21, verse 5. Wearing a peacock feather ornament in his head, blue karnikar flowers on his ears, a yellow garland made as brilliant as gold, and a Jayanti garland, Lord Krishna exhibited the transcendental form as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavan, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. Wonderful description of Krishna. He has a peacock's feather in his hair. He has blue karnikar flowers in his ears. I don't know that I've seen a blue karnikar flower. Generally, the ones that we see in Vrindavan are yellow. I don't know the Latin name, but it's a pretty flower. And here, so it's very intimate. It's informal. Krishna in Dwaraka, he's regal. He has a crown on his head. He has jeweled ornaments in his ears. In Vaikuntha, he stands with his symbols, the club and the conch of the Lord. Here, he has a peacock's feather in his hair. He has blue karnikara flowers just tucked behind his ears. It's very sweet. It's informal, very charming. His garments are yellow, And he has a Vajayanti garland. So the definition of a Vajayanti garland is yeah. Sometimes showing like this.
I know that it goes down to his knees.
Goes
and
to
it's
the
made
knees?
of,
Yeah.
of is it how many different colors? 16 or 6? 5.
5.
5 different colors of flowers.
5 colors, 5 types of flowers, and it comes to the knees. And Vajayanti means Vijay, means victory. This is Krishna's victory garland. What is he victorious over? He's victorious
Everything.
as he enters, everything. As he enters Vrindavan forest, everyone is conquered by him, by his sweetness. He's like a dancer. So his dhoti is tucked up. He's herding cows, and so sometimes the dhoti can be a little impractical, we might say, for doing physical activity. But a dancer, she might tuck up her sari in a way that she can dance and be quite versatile. And so Krishna, he's walking gracefully as he enters Vrindavan forest, and he looks like the greatest of dancers. Lord Shiva, he's called Nataraj. Krishna, he's called Natavara. And he decorates the earth with his footprints. So Mother Earth, she feels nourished. She feels protected, having Krishna's lotus feet on her surface. And his feet, they have symbols, special symbols. His feet are reddish in complexion, and when he walks, it leaves the mark, the mark in the surface of the Vrindavan forest. And there is a pact, an agreement between all the residents of Vrindavan. You do not disturb those lotus footprints. All the animals, the birds, the insects, everyone knows those lotus footprints are to be protected. They are there for everyone to see and to celebrate. So much nectar there to explore, but we will continue on. The gopis, they say, eyes that see the beautiful faces of the sons of Maharaj Nanda are truly blessed. We all have eyes. Sonaka Rishi in the Bhagavata says, eyes that do not see Krishna, they're like the eyes on a peacock's plume. What is the use of them? So the gopis here, they say, see Krishna with your eyes. That's the perfection of having these eyes. As they enter the forest with their friends and cows playing their flutes, they cast loving glances. So there's that sidelong glance. Krishna is entering the forest, he's leaving Vrajapura, and he's glancing from the corners of his eyes, and the devotees there feeling a shower of nectar as Krishna's gaze casts, or glance casts over them. There are many prayers by devotees saying, please bless me with your glance. Please bless me by darshan. Darshan is to see the Lord, but also to be seen by the Lord. And to be seen, Krishna's glance is most potent. When Vishnu glances over material nature is impregnated and the creation is activated. When Krishna glances over his friends after they have drunk the poisoned water of the Yamuna that has been poisoned by Kali, they come back to life. Or when he glances over his friends in the belly of Aghasura, their life returns to them. So Krishna's glance is unlimitedly potent, and when one receives that glance, one is filled with life. And so Krishna is glancing as he over the residence of Vrindavan, but his eyes are also wandering, looking for the gopis as well. They are also looking at him from the corners of their eyes because they can't look at him directly. It's not socially accepted, and so they are stealing glances of Krishna. And so the gopis say, for those who have eyes, we think of no greater object of vision. We have eyes, what should we be doing with them? See Radha Muralidhara as much as possible. So there's the external eye, there's also the mind's eye. Then the gopis, they express some feelings about this flute. They say, what auspicious activities must this flute have performed? It drinks the nectar of Krishna's lips and leaves only some remnants for us, for whom that nectar is actually meant. So some jealousy here, some spiritual rivalry being expressed by the gopis. Then they think about the flute's parents, so they're thinking this through. They're thinking deeply, and they've thought a lot about the bamboo flute that Krishna is placing to his lips. They would like to be in that position. So, what austerities has it performed? It's like, so we could do those austerities as well. Or, what austerities has it performed? Like, what did it do? What qualification does this flute have? So either way, whether they're mocking or whether they're interested in a sadhana to achieve that same position, they think about the flute's parents, the trees. They must be very happy that their descendant has achieved such an exalted position, although just being a stick, a dry bamboo rod. And they think about the flute's mother. So the trees are drinking water, and the trees are drinking water from the rivers and the lakes. And so there's also something to this, that when Krishna takes his bath in the river or the lake, then the fragrance of his body enters into that water and is shared with the trees that drink it. And so the gopis, they say, the rivers, they're getting the nectar from Krishna's fragrance. The trees are getting the nectar of Krishna's fragrance. Whatever has been left by the flute, they're all happy. What about us? Some transcendental jealousy on the part of the gopis. And then they describe so many other creatures, entities in Vrindavan forest, and how they are relishing the sound of Krishna's flute. The peacocks, they hear the sound of Krishna's flute and they dance. They dance, a peacock's dance. I grew up in Mawulma, in northern New South Wales and Australia. We have many peacocks, so we see them dancing, they lift their tail, and it's very, very pretty, very beautiful to behold. So the peacocks, they hear Krishna's flute, they dance. And then Krishna, he is inspired, he's encouraged by them. Oh, the peacocks are dancing to my song. So he plays even more beautiful melodies, and the peacocks dance even more enchanting dances. And so there is a reciprocation between Krishna and the peacocks. Eventually, the peacocks, they're feeling so much gratitude that they shed their feathers as an offering to Krishna of Dakshina. And Krishna takes those feathers and he puts them in his hair, an offering of love from the peacocks. The deer, the gopis say, look at the deer, the female deer, the doe, she's able to stay with her ears up, drinking the nectar of Krishna's flute song, and the male deer is standing beside her. He's not jealous. If we said to hear the sound of Krishna's flute or to see him, we get in trouble. We get in trouble from our parents. Hey, what are you doing? Go back to do your household duties. We get in trouble. Some of the devotees are married, and so we get in trouble from our husbands. But the deer, the female deer is able to stand and listen, and the male deer says, hey, you're enjoying that? Let's go together and follow Krishna and drink the nectar of the flute song. So the gopis have some jealousy towards the deer as well. Then they say, what woman would not be attracted? So they're making an excuse for themselves as well. Don't blame us. Don't blame us for being attracted to Krishna's flute song. Anyone who would hear this, even the female deer, are attracted. So why would you blame us? And then they look in the sky and they see something wonderful. They see celestial airplanes, vimanas. And in those celestial airplanes are demigods and demigoddesses. And they have stopped. Their airplanes are hovering over Vrindavan forest. And the gopis say, even the demigoddesses, they are attracted to the sound of Krishna's flute. Why are you blaming us? Why are you accusing us? Even the demigoddesses, their hair has become slackened. The flowers in their hair has fallen to the ground because they are overwhelmed with emotion, hearing the sound of Krishna's flute. And their husbands are not stopping them. The cows and the calves, the cows are chewing their cud, they forget to swallow. They're just listening to the sound of Krishna's flute with their ears also erect. And the calves are drinking milk from the udders, but the milk is falling from their mouths. They forget to actually swallow. And so the milk is falling from mother cow to mother earth. And the calf in between is forgetting to drink the nectar of the milk because they're instead drinking the nectar of the sound of Krishna's flute. And the birds, generally birds, they're flying here and there. But these birds of Vrindavan, they hear the sound of Krishna's flute, they stop and just settle in a tree branch, and they close their eyes, and the gopis say, they look like meditating sages. They look like yogis practicing yoga with their eyes half closed as they just relish the sound of Krishna's flute. And the rivers, they stop flowing. You see what impact Krishna's flute song has. It even stops the flow of the rivers. They don't want to pass by the sound of Krishna's flute, and so your little river, she stopped flowing, and she makes her surface get higher and higher, so she can flood her banks and touch Krishna's lotus feet. And she makes an offering. So the peacocks are offering their feathers. The little river, she reaches out to Krishna with her lotus flowers as an offering of love and reciprocation. The clouds, they're also affected. All of Vrindavan is affected by the sound of Krishna's flute. The clouds, they see, oh, Krishna is going through the forest, it's a hot day. There's a sun shining at full noon, and so, or entering into full noon, going from morning to noon. And so the clouds, they want to protect Krishna from the heat of the sun, and so they take the role of an umbrella. But this is an interesting umbrella. Generally, we have an umbrella to protect us from the rain, but the clouds, they also want to make Krishna cool. We can appreciate this in the summer right now, it's quite hot. And so the clouds, they offer like a drizzle, a very light rain drops to pull Krishna and his friends in. So like this, everyone, from the gopis' view, everyone in Vrindavan is attracted to Krishna, and they're attracted to his flute song, and they are doing some service for Krishna as well. Chapter, oops, Siri. Sometimes when I speak, Siri comes over and will answer the question. I ask the question to the audience, and then Siri thinks that she can give the answer. The gopis conclude this chapter. They're describing Vrindavan and how it's affected by Krishna, and their hearts are alleviated, but they're still longing. They want to be with Krishna. And so there's this prayer to Govardhan here, text 18. Tathaya madhir abala haridasa varya, yadrama Krishna charana svarsha pramana, manam turoti sahagogadayastivaya, ayasuyava sakandara kandulai. Of all the devotees, this Govardhan is the best. He supplies Krishna and Balaram with all kinds of nice offerings of fresh grass and caves to keep them cool or sheltered in the rain, or cool in the summer, or warm in the winter. Different minerals and that they can use as colors to decorate themselves. And in offering all of these services, Giriraj Govardhan has become very joyful. So the devotees' reward in service is the service itself. And so Govardhan, by offering service, feels rewarded. Oh, I'm so fortunate, I get to serve in these ways, and has become joyful. And so the gopis are seeing how Giriraj is close to Krishna in these services, and they conclude with a prayer. If Giriraj is merciful to us, we will be able to approach Krishna. And what's very interesting is that just a few chapters from here, the Govardhan Leela takes place, and they're able to be with Krishna for one whole week in front of their parents and those who are married, husbands and elders, and whatever the social convention, it doesn't matter. The rules don't apply because they are being protected from Indra's rainfall, and so they stand with Krishna, close to Krishna, drinking the nectar of his beautiful form for an entire week as a reward, a blessing that they receive at the end of this Veda, a reciprocation to an offering that they make at the end of this Veda Gita. So we are running out of time. I would like to invite discussion now, but that's not going to be possible. So I will summarize. What are some of the implications of the Gopis' song for our spiritual practice in cultivating love for Krishna? And this is where I would love to open up the conversation, but unfortunately we would have to go straight to my insights for you. One thing is, we see the Gopis, they're feeling separation, and they sing about Krishna, and that alleviates the pain of their heart. So kirtan, this is the Gopis' kirtan. And so for us, kirtan and japa of Krishna's name and his glories is a way that we could awaken love for Krishna. For the Gopis, it's alleviating the pain of their heart. For us, the same process, the same practice awakens. It's a way of cultivating this sentiment and feeling of love for Krishna. Discussion. The Gopis have come together and they are talking about Krishna, and that alleviates the pain of separation in their hearts. For you and I, that's how we cultivate love for Krishna. Association. By associating together, they are able to endure the pain of separation. For you and I, by associating with devotees, we awaken our love for Krishna. And then we also see the Gopis taking shelter of the holy Nau, Govardhan Hill, Vrindavan itself. And so for you and I, also associating with the Nau and awaken our love for Krishna. And so, final words, as the conch blows, The gopis are exemplars of devotion, and this feeling of love and separation is also something that we should cultivate. Satchidananda Maharaj says, when you chant, you say, Hare, and try to feel some Krishna, some longing, calling out to Krishna. Prabhupada would say, chant in the mood of a child calling out for its mother. So, I want you, I need you, where are you? That's how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would chant. And then we also take inspiration for our practice. Kirtan, Bhagavata discussion, see the deity associated with devotees, and the Dham. These are all ways that we learn from the gopis how to cultivate love for Krishna. Shri Guru Gita ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Shri Prahlada Prabhu, and dear devotees. We will have Arti and Kirtan now, so we can move the cushions to the side. Please come forward and we will sing and dance for the Lord. Shri Prahlada Prabhu ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Krishna Krishna Hiya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Acharya. Astota Satashi Shimara Vaicharana Vindavakiranta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki. Shri Rup Shri Sanatan Bhattaraguna Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattana Swagana Sargosami Prabhupada Ki. Thanks to Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasani Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radha Giri Govardhan Ki. Nanga Devi Ki. Yamuna Devi Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Nam Sankirtan Ki. Mahaprabhu Vrinda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Murlidhar Ki. Shri Gaurachandra Ki. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Glory to the Sum devotees. Glory to the Sum devotees. Glory to the Sum devotees. All glory to Shri Shri Guru Granth. Glory to Shri Prabhupada.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Prahlada Raja Jaya Hiranyakashi
Hare Krishna, thank you all so much again. Thank you again to Shukla Guru for speaking on such an enlivening topic. Oh, right. And a few announcements. This happens every Sunday. Please come back next Sunday. Doyle Garanga will be speaking, so we're really looking forward to that. And there's also a survey. If you aren't on the temple newsletter, please join the temple newsletter by scrolling down to the bottom of the website and clicking join our newsletter. There's two newsletters, the general and the temple. And in that newsletter, there is actually a family room and kids program survey. If you can please complete it so that we know how to better serve you at Bhakti Center, that would be very wonderful. And we have Srila Prabhupada meditations every Wednesday at 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. And that is at 26 2nd Avenue, right around the block. Please stay. We have a wonderful vegan prasadam lunch for you all in the back. Leave a donation if you can. And so grateful to all of you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.